Hello everyone, welcome back to some more Williams Road to Glory here today, and this is the Mexican Grand Prix, and after this 2 more races remain and we are done with this series. So we are approaching, the high end point and the final conclusion of this, so very much looking forward to seeing what the final few races have in store. But guys, as always, if you haven't seen the previous episode, I'll leave that one linked up in the top right hand corner of the screen. But you can see at the moment in the background, no big changes to the weather forecast, the upgrades, and the reason for that is because a regulation change has been announced and confirmed for next season. So teams are pretty much going to stop developing. Now we have an ultimate upgrade for the chassis on the way, and also we had one for the aero, but it failed. So I'm probably going to repurchase the aerodynamics one, and that's it for us this season. And then I'll do an extra episode for you guys who wanted to see how things would look heading into season 4. So yeah, pretty much I'm going to kind of treat it as if I was doing another season. So after practice, we scored near enough to 1,000 R&D points and took our total up to 2,600 plus, and hopefully we'll add some more after qualifying and the race. But yeah, we'll do some upgrades later on. For now though, we're going to focus on qualifying and we jump into Q1, and fingers crossed we have a bit more of a routine session, because qualifying in the last episode, as I mentioned, if you haven't seen it, linked in the top right, at USA, was a bit of a disaster. We actually completely messed it up and started from P20 after invalidating 2 qualifying laps in a row. So pretty similar to having a messy session like Lance Stroll in the French Grand Prix earlier on today, of course. And yeah, it was one of them ones where nothing really clicked for us, but luckily this time straight away in Q1 we go P1, top of the timesheets, and that lap got us through quite comfortably actually into Q2, setting a 111.6, which is more than enough, as Russell also gets through there in P13. We then move into Q2, and for this event, let's say, I'm actually using some old engine components, hence why the engine indicator is yellow in the bottom right, because I don't consider this a major power circuit. So we tried a lot of the mediums, didn't quite work out. To be fair, I wasn't a million miles away from the cut-off lap, but still I needed about 0.2 of a second. So we had to go again on the soft tyres, and on my first lap, as you'll see right now through turn 2, I actually cut the corner, and I've got just about enough time to get around, do another lap, and this time around, second time I've asked, and you can see we're 0.7 to the good compared to our medium tyre lap time. We go purple in the middle sector, and things are looking pretty decent. We're currently P15, and I think literally 2 or 3 tenths would have got us through on mediums, but I just lacked a little bit of pace. But now we're like 8 to 9 tenths, we're now a full second now as we make our way through the final corner, and it's going to be a big improvement, a 111.2 I believe, and actually no, it was a 111.1, so even faster, and we move into Q3 quite comfortably. Unfortunately, George Russell gets knocked out in Q2, and that is massive for the Constructors' Championship. We need George in the fight, and he's just not there right now, so not ideal. We need the points. So yeah, you move it to Q3. It's up to me now to try and bring home the bacon for Williams, and we've got 2 fresh sets of soft tyres to run in this session. My first time lap got invalidated again, just cutting at the stadium section, being a bit too aggressive over the curbs, and it all came down to my final lap in qualifying, as of course we're going to be P10, so the pressure's on, we need to improve. So let's go for a full lap of Mexico and let's see if we can try and deliver pole. For reference, our best lap of the weekend is the Q2 lap of a 111.2, so we're going to have to beat that to get pole here today, because Leclerc currently has pole with a 111.1 I believe. So let's jump into the lap. there we go, across the line. It's a massive lap time into the 110s, just about there, 110.997, and that lap is just going to be good enough to get pole by a tenth over Charles Leclerc, who managed to get P2 with the 111.1, which is insane. So really good lap there from Leclerc, but managed to dip under the 111s and set an insane lap time. Meanwhile, Hamilton and Bottas underperforming massively in Q3, which is great news for us in the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship. So yeah, let's see how the race goes. The Red Bulls seem to be a threat again. Perez P5 in his home race in the AlphaTauri, and in general, it's not looking too shabby. Just a shame George Russell underperformed quite badly in Q2, but you never know. Hopefully he can maybe try and fight back in the race, but in terms of the rivalry, we actually outscore Bottas and take a 1-point lead heading into the race, and also Acclaim looking pretty decent as well. But anyway, that's it for qualifying, guys. We're now going to move into the race here for the Mexican Grand Prix.
Here we go then, it's time to race in Mexico City, a place which gave Honda their first ever victory back in 1965. American Richie Ginther won from third on the grid. And what are the Honda-powered cars this year? Well, Red Bull have been going strong here in recent seasons, so can they keep that record going today? The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 2.6 miles of track that allows drivers to take full advantage of their cars, reaching speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and providing lots of opportunities for overtaking. The circuit features 17 corners, 10 to the right, and the remaining 7 going to the left. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Why don't we start by talking about Valtteri Bottas? They need to win in order to stay in contention for the title. Anything outside of that, and their fate is no longer in their hands.
The key now will be to keep in the right mindset. We've seen time and again that things go wrong if you just try and do the minimum. Not necessarily because of the pressure, but because it's different to your usual approach. They'll need to avoid that and stay focused today.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Martinez lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Gasly, Albon, Sergio Perez, and Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, Ricciardo, and Daniel Kvyat. Norris, Russell, Esteban Ocon, and Stroll, Sainz, De Vries, Kevin Magnussen, and Antonio Giovinazzi. Matsushita and Romain Grosjean sits at the back of the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
Here we are then for the race in Mexico as we get ready to start the race from pole position. Now the good news is that for the Drivers' Championship, this could potentially be a crucial race in maybe even winning the championship here today. We'll see how the race goes. But for the Constructors, even though we're on pole, George Russell is in P12, so not ideal. And I'm hoping, and really, we need George to pull something out the bag here. I'm going to try and do my part, though, and see if I can win the race. On the strategy, we're going to go for the softs, then onto the mediums, and then onto the softs again. A simple two-stop, by far the most effective strategy. I'm expecting a safety car, to be honest. When that arrives, who knows? No rain expected, and fuel-wise, 0.5 of a lap. So it's pretty straightforward. The first thing we've got to do now, though, is get a good start and take the lead into the first corner. So let's see what happens as we get into the action here at Mexico. Okay, let's see what happens. Hopefully we get a good start. 5 red lights are on, and they're off, and away we go. Okay, that's not too bad, actually. That's a pretty decent start. Leclerc's going to try and get ahead. I'm going to drain the battery quite a lot. We're going to run super deep into the first corner on the brakes. And the outside we go on Leclerc, inside through turn 2. And there we go, we've recovered our lead and taken back first place. Although to be fair, Alex Albon is now the immediate threat. He's trying to fight back here, around the outside he goes. We're going to just hold it on the inside line and reclaim P1 and hold on to the lead. Now, we're starting off with a bit higher tyre wear than I would like on these tyres, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of management. Rear tyres are going to be key around here in terms of keeping those alive. But 36 laps ahead of us. It's going to be a relatively long race, actually. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Either way, I'm feeling pretty confident in the pace and the strategy. And already 1.8 seconds clear from Albon. So, so far so good. Let's see if we can keep pushing and increase that gap. Obviously, the bigger we get the gap now early on, the more relaxed we can take it in this race. So let's crack on and let's see what kind of pace we have. First warning for track limits. Not ideal getting one this early on, but we move. Oh, we've got a yellow flag behind. Someone's had an issue. I think it's Hamilton. That could be massive for the Constructors' Championship. Will that be an early safety car? It probably will be, knowing this game. And there we go. So safety car enabled, I believe. Deployed, there we go. Yeah, so safety car out. Right, so Hamilton's out. That is big for both championships. That pretty much rules him out of contention for the World Drivers' Championship. And then in regards to the Constructors, well, this just got a lot more spicy because Bottas isn't in the top 5. Now, I've just asked on the radio, Bottas is in 8th place, Russell in P12. So this would be a big chunk of points we could pull back for the Constructors' Championship. Hopefully, whatever strategy George is on, you know, the fact he's outside the top 10 might be a benefit for us. Hopefully, he can one-stop it or something different and try and get into the points. I'm going to do my bit to try and get the fastest lap, and we're going to see if this could be the race where we could try and get some points back on Mercedes. Okay, safety car in this lap. Wasn't really expecting that, so tyres are going to be a little bit on the cold side because I thought it would be one more lap, so we're going to have to work them a little bit in this final part of the lap here to see if I can get some temperature into the rubber. I'm going to have to go from side to side and hope for the best. But right, let's get ready for the restart then. I'm just going to floor it and hope we can stay into the lead in the first corner. We're going to pull straight over to the right hand side to go defensive. We're going to weave a little bit to see if we can shake off the toe from Albon. He's got Gasly behind also getting a toe. I think we're going to be okay though into the first corner. Only thing is tyres are going to be very, very cold. Albon goes for the dive up the inside. I have to leave a bit of room. Honestly didn't expect him to go for that, but I saw the red arrows, so I had to react. In the process, Gasly's actually overtaken his teammates, so Red Bull 2-3. So Red Bull are still in this, Gasly's still in this championship fight, and they've definitely ended the season quite strongly, but I think it's too little too late for them. Personal best and the new fastest lap in the 1:14.7s. We've dropped Gasly out of DRS range, and this is going to make our stint a lot easier. We're going to box around lap 10 or lap 11. The only issue is we're going to rejoin in quite a bit of traffic. Another fastest lap of the race. Pace is really strong right now. 2 more laps and we can pit, but this is great for us. Norris now running in P3. I wonder if Albon maybe got wing damage, trying to go for that move on me because he's really dropped off the pace since he tried to make that silly overtake. So not quite sure what happened there, but either way this is helping us out in terms of just collecting a big gap over all of our rivals. Okay, lap 10, we're going to box this lap, so let's just bring it through the final sector and make no mistakes. Very solid first stint. Pace has been insane, which I already knew, to be fair. I'm by far the quickest man on the track around here. This is one of the easier tracks on this year's game. Into the pits we go. Easy does it. On our marks, now let's see what kind of pit stop we have. I wonder if we're going to get any space. I don't think we are. There's a massive train of cars being led by Albon. I think we're going to rejoin right behind it, which isn't going to be ideal. Away we go. To be fair, Albon actually pits. And to be fair, a lot of those cars in that train pit as well, so not too bad. It looks like the majority of cars who started outside the top 10 and had free tyre choice, they still went for the softs. So that's actually worked out okay. And relative clear track, we've got a few more cars who will probably pit this lap, including George Russell, so that has actually worked out fine for us, which is great news. There we go, George pits.
George is coming in for his stop.
Looks like Stroll's going to stay out for one more lap, so we'll try and get past him. I thought I would have had DRS, but I made a bit of a mistake through the final corner, which cost me, so not ideal. I'm losing a lot of time stuck behind Stroll here. He's going to pit this lap, but I just don't really want to lose another second stuck behind him, so we're going to go for the move here anyways. Up the inside. There we go, job done. I know he'll pit, but I just didn't want to stay behind through this final part of the lap, to be fair. I just lose too much time. We've already lost quite a bit to Gasly, 1.2 seconds. And Gasly is on soft tyres as well, which is not going to help. And actually Stroll stayed out, so good thing we did pass him. Right, let's try and get back on the pace a little bit. There we go, back on it. A new fastest lap of the race. Let's see what Gasly does as he crosses the line. I'm curious to see if he manages to beat that. It's going to be close. Looks like he hasn't managed, so we go slightly quicker on that lap as now Stroll finally pits. Right, so far so good. Now we just got to keep the gap, and then once we swap tyres for the final stint, we'll have the advantage on soft tyres.
Understood, copy that.
Yeah, that's fine for me, I can do that. We'll just stretch it to one more lap. At the minute there's been no action really, I'm chilling out front. Probably one of those boring races ever, but you know what? I'm taking it straight to the bank. Exactly what I needed. Okay, looks like Pierre Gasly is going to pit, so we actually pulled away a little bit towards the end. The gap was about 8 seconds. I don't think we're under any threat, even though he'll be on fresh tyres. I just don't think he's going to have enough pace to catch that entire 8 seconds up, so I think we can chill. We don't have to panic. We'll try and pit lap 26 and stick to the strategy. Bottas right now, he was running in net P7. George running in net P13, so again, Russell let me down here today. He started P12, he's running P13. He should be doing a lot better than that, so yeah, it's not ideal really. We need George in the points, especially in a race where Hamilton retired. Okay, Gasly takes away our fastest lap, 14.2. Russell in the pits again.
George is in the pits. George in the pits.
I hope he goes for softs. If he doesn't, that makes no sense at all. I can't understand that. If he doesn't go for softs, it just completely defeats the purpose of the strategy. Right, here we go. Lap 26. We're going to go for our final stop of the race. Disappointingly, George has gone for mediums again, so I don't understand that strategy decision, that strategy call. I don't know what the hell happened there, but he's currently P13 stuck in a DRS train. But we're going to box for a used set of soft tyres. Hopefully there shouldn't be too used. And yeah, we're going to just go to the end. We've got a nice, comfortable lead over Gasly. And to be fair, Gasly is a solid 12 seconds ahead of Lando and the rest of the pack. So pretty one-sided this race. Bottas now to P5. He's recovering well. Or we go 2.5 stop. What we're going to do now is pretty much try and get that fastest lap back and bring the car home. So let's do this. Away we go. Rejoining onto some clear track. And Gasly approximately 10 seconds behind, I'm going to say. Right, let's get down to business. We've got another yellow on the pit straight. It's going to ruin my fastest lap attempt, which is a real shame. Hopefully nothing happens. No, it's going to be a virtual Esteban Ocon. That's a shame. I was flying, I was about a second up. Oh well, I'll have to try again after this VSC, hopefully next lap. VSC ending. Let's set up the lap and try again. Right, let's do this. Let's try and get that fastest lap. And there we go. This lap should do the trick. At least 1.5 up minimum up to the line. And it's going to be a 12.4, which is pretty insane. Even in qualifying, that would have been a half decent lap. So there we go. That should lock in the fastest lap. All we've got to do now is bring the car home. You can see in the bottom right, the ERS has turned white, which means we've got some energy store wear. You can see the engine wear icon is red because the control electronics is on 75%. So yeah, we're just bringing this one home now, to be honest. We've done our job here today. The best we can do. Second warning. Let's try and keep it clean and not get a penalty in the rest of this race. There's the penalty. Bit of a silly one really, but I'm just losing focus now because I'm just chilling, going through the motions really. Okay, here we go. Last lap of the race. We've led from start to finish. I'm not going to get too close to Matsushita here. I don't want to have to lap cars. I'll just keep some distance. But there we go. The confetti goes up. And it's going to be a race win. Our first one in quite a while actually. We haven't won a race in a little while. But we're going to extend our championship lead and get one hand on the trophy. And Bottas P5. But we'll take that. A great win here today.
Here they are then, coming into Parc Ferme, and an excellent win for the Williams team. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
It looks like it's time once again to hand out the silverware as these successful drivers make their way to the podium. It was a gritty performance today by Williams, and they've got the race win to prove it.
Well, there we go then. The race results are in. We pick up the W and the fastest lap, along with a 3-second time penalty. Pierre Gasly P2, Lando Norris on the podium, P3 for McLaren. Great drive from him from P11 on the grid, doing it on merit on a 2-stop strategy. Ricciardo P4, Bottas P5, Sainz P6 ahead of Albon, Perez, Russell P9. In the end, he manages to get a couple of points and recover into the top 10, and Kvyat running at the top 10, missing out on the points. Both Ferraris. Leclerc started P2, finished P11. Verstappen, Stroll, De Vries, Giovinazzi, Magnussen, Grosjean, Matsushita, Ocon and Hamilton out of the race. That was the big news here today. In the driver standings now, it's official. Only me or Valtteri Bottas can win the championship. We've got 2 races remaining, Brazil and Abu Dhabi, and there's 50 points up for grabs. So Bottas needs a miracle. Gasly and Hamilton are now out of the running. In the Constructors, we are still in 2nd place, and with 2 races to go, and I believe 88 points up for grabs, it's looking pretty tricky for us. We needed George today to be on the podium, for example, to really help us, but that wasn't the case. So, yeah, another bad day in the office. Either way, guys, that's going to be it from me here today. I'm going to lock it off, and we'll do the upgrades and admin work at the start of the next episode. But hopefully, you enjoyed the video here today. As always, leave a like, subscribe for more daily F1 content on my channel, and hopefully, guys, will enjoy it, because the next race could be big for the championship. We could potentially decide both titles. You know, there could be the constructors going Mercedes way and the drivers going our way. Either way, hopefully you enjoy the video, guys. Like, subscribe. Big shout out to the channel members for supporting my content. As always, I love it. Shout out to you lot, thank you so much. And as always, check out the 2 videos on screen if you have missed them. But that is it from me here today, and I'll see you all next time.